Genesis 42, Joseph's brother in Egypt. Jacob heard that there was grain in Egypt, and he said to his sons, "Why do you sit and look at one another? I have heard there is grain in Egypt. Go down and buy some for us there, so that we may live and not die." So Joseph's 10 brothers set out to buy grain in Egypt. But Benjamin, Joseph's youngest brother, did not go with them, for harm might befall him, said Jacob. So among the crowds that came to buy grain came the sons of Jacob, for the famine in the land of Canaan. Now Joseph was governor of the land. He sold grain to all the people of the land. Joseph's brother came to him and bowed themselves before him with their faces to the earth. When Joseph's brothers saw him, he recognized them, but he acted as a stranger towards them, and he spoke roughly to them, saying, "Where do you come from?" "From the land of Canaan to buy food," they said. Joseph's brother did not know him, but he remembered the dream that he had and dreamed of them, and he said to them, "You are spies. It is to find out the secret of the land that you have come." "No, my lord," they said to him, "your servants have come only to buy food. We are true men. Your servants are not spies." And Joseph said to them, "No, you have come to find out the secret of the land. We are 12 brothers," they said, the sons of the man in the land of Canaan. The youngest one is with our father now, and one is no more." But Joseph said again, "It is just as I said. You are spies. This shall be proof. By the life of the Pharaoh, you shall not go out here unless your youngest brother comes to this place. Send one of you and let him fetch your brother, and you shall be kept in the prison, so that it may prove whether there is any truth in your words, or else, by the life of Pharaoh, surely you are spies." And he put them all together under guards for 3 days. The third day Joseph said to them, "Do this and save your lives, for I am a God-fearing man. If you are true men, let one of you stay bound in the prison where you are kept. The rest of you take grain to feed the hungry in your house. But bring your brother to me, the youngest one, so that your words are proven. You shall not die." And they did so, saying to one another, "Truly, we are guilty about our brother, for we saw the anguish of his soul when he pleaded with us, and we should not listen. That is why this distress has come upon us." And Reuben answered them, "Did I not tell you, do not sin against the child? But you would not listen, and now we must settle for his blood." They did not know that Joseph understood them, for he spoke to them through an interpreter. Joseph turned away from them and wept. Then he returned and spoke to them. He took Simon from them and bound him before their eyes. Then Joseph ordered servants to fill their sacks with grain, to put every man's money back into his sack, and to give them provision for the journey, and that is how he treated them. The brothers returned home. So they loaded their donkeys with the grain and started home. But when they stopped at an inn, and one of them opened the sack to feed his donkey, he spied his money in the mouth of his sack. "My money is back in my sack," he said to his brothers. Their hearts failed them, and they were afraid, saying to one another, "What is this that God has done to us?" Genesis 42 to 43. They came home to Jacob, their father, in the land of Canaan, and they told him that had happened. "The man who is the Lord of the land treated us harshly and took us for spies. But we said to him, 'We are true men. We are not spies. We were 12 brothers. One is no longer, and the youngest is with our father in the land of Canaan.' Then the man who is the Lord of the land said to us, I will know if you are a true man. Leave one of your brothers here with me and take food to feed the hungry in your houses. Be gone. Then bring your brother to me, the youngest, and I shall know that you are not spies, but true men. Then I will deliver your brother, and you shall trade in the land. Now when they emptied their sacks, behold, every man found his bundle of money in his sack. And when both they and their father saw the bundles of money, they were afraid. Jacob said to them, "You have taken away my children from me. Joseph is no more, and Simon is no more. And now you want to take Benjamin away? All these things are against me." Reuben said to his father, "You may kill my 2 sons if I do not bring Benjamin back to you. Put him into my hands, and I will bring him to you again." But Jacob said, "My son shall not go down with you, for his brother is dead, and he is alone and is left. If harm should come to him on the journey, you would bring down my gray hairs and sorrow to the grave." Benjamin goes to Egypt. Genesis 43. The famine continued in the land, and the time came with Jacob, and his sons had eaten up the grain which they had brought from Egypt. And they said to them, "Go again, buy us little food." But Judah told him, "If you will send our brother with us, we will go down and buy you food. But if you will not send him, we will not go down." For the man said to us, "You shall not see my face unless your brother is with you." "Why did you deal so badly with me as to tell the man you had another brother?" asked Jacob. And they explained, "The man asks many questions about ourselves and about our family, saying, 'Is your father still alive? Have you have another brother?' We answered according to his questions. But how could we know that he would say, 'Bring your brother down'?" Then Judah said to his father Jacob, "Send the lad with me, and we shall arise and go, so that we may live and not die. We and you and all our little ones. I will be responsible for him, and you may demand him of me. If I do not bring him to you and set him before you, then let me bear the blame forever." If we would already have been back a second time, their father said to them, "If it must be so now, do this. Take some of the best fruits of the land and put it into your sack, and carry down the man's presents and little balm, and a little honey, spices, myrrh, nuts, and almonds. Take double money in your hand. In the way you will be able to give back the money that was in the mouth of your sack. It may be that was an oversight. Take also your brother, and go again to the man. May God Almighty grant you mercy from the man, so that he may send home Benjamin and your other brother Simon. For if I must grieve for my children, it is bitter grief indeed." And the man took presents and took double money in their hands, and took also Benjamin, and started off and went down to Egypt. They came and stood before Joseph. The brothers are taken to Joseph's house. Joseph saw Benjamin with them and said to the ruler of the house, "Take these men home, kill some meat, and make it ready for these men who will dine with me at noon." The servant did as Joseph told him and took the brothers to Joseph's house. The men were afraid when they were brought into Joseph's house. They said, "It is because of the money that was returned into our sack the first time that we have been brought here, so that he may find fault with us and fall upon us and take us for slaves and seize our donkeys." So they approached the steward of Joseph's house, and they spoke to him in the doorway. "Oh, sir," they said, "truly we came down for the first time only to buy food. But when we went back and opened our sack, behold, every man's money was in the mouth of his sack. our money's full amount, and we have had it brought back to us. We have brought other money down to buy food. We do not know who put the money in our sack. Peace be with you, said the steward. Fear not, your God and the God of your father gave you the treasure in your sack. I received your money. Then he brought Simon out to them. The man took the brothers into Joseph's house, and he gave them water to wash their feet, and he gave food to their donkeys. Meanwhile, they prepared the presents to give to Joseph when he came in at noon, for they had been told that they were to eat there. When Joseph came home, they brought him the present which they had brought into the house, and they bowed themselves down to the earth before him. He asked them how they were, and said, Is your father well? The old man of whom you spoke, is he still alive? Your servants, our father, is in good health, they answered. He is still alive. And they bowed down their heads respectfully. Lifting up his eyes, Joseph saw his brother, Benjamin, his own mother's son, and he said, Is this the youngest brother of whom you told me? Then he said, God be gracious to you, my son. Then Joseph hurried away, for his heart yearned for his brother, and he sought a place to weep. He went into his room and wept there. Then he washed his face and calmed himself, and went out and said, Serve the food. Joseph dines with his brothers. The servants served him separately, and the brothers by themselves, and the Egyptians who ate also by themselves, because the Egyptians could not eat bread with the Hebrews, for that was against the law of Egyptians. The brothers sat before Joseph in order, from the firstborn according to his birthright, down to the youngest according to his youth. The men looked at one another in wonderment. Joseph sat serving to them from his table, and Benjamin's serving was 5 times as much as any of the others. They drank and were merry with him. Genesis 44. Then Joseph gave orders to the steward of his house, saying, Fill the men's sack with food, as much as they can carry, and put every man's money in his sack's mouth, and put my cup, the silver cup, in the mouth of the sack of the youngest. With his grain money, the steward did everything Joseph had told him. As soon as the morning was light, the men were sent away, and their donkeys. When they left the city, but were not yet far, Joseph said to the steward, Follow the men, when you have overtaken them, saying to them, Why have you turned evil for good? Is it not the cup from which my Lord drinks, and he uses in making prophecies? And I'm doing this. You have done evil. The steward overtook them, and he spoke to them in words of Joseph, and he said, Why does the Lord say these things? God forbid that your servants should do anything like this. Behold, the money that we found in our sacks now we brought back to you from the land of Canaan. Why would you steal our silver or gold of your Lord's house? Let whoever among us is found to have this object die, and the rest of us will be your Lord's slaves. The steward said, Let it be as you say. He who is found to be, it shall be my slave, but the rest of these shall be blameless. Each man speedily put down his sack on the ground, and each man opened the sack. The steward searched, beginning with the eldest, finishing with the youngest. The cup was found in Benjamin's sack. Joseph's brother tore their clothes in grief. Then each man loaded his donkey again, and they returned to the city. Judah and his brothers came to Joseph's house and found him there. They fell before him on the ground. Joseph said to them, Why is this you have done? Do you not know that men like me can see through these things? What shall we say to my Lord? Answered Judah. How shall we speak and how shall we clear ourselves? God has found the wickedness of your servants. Behold, we shall be my Lord's slave, and all of us as well as he in whose sack the cup was found. God forbid that I should demand that. Joseph said, the man in whose hand the cup was found, he shall be my slave. As for the rest of you, go in peace up to your father. Judah pleaded with Joseph. Then Judah came closer to him and said, Oh, my Lord, I beg of you, let your servant speak a word in my Lord's ear, and do not let your anger burn against your servant, even though you are as powerful as the Pharaoh. My Lord has asked his servants, have you a father or a brother? And we said to my Lord, we have a father, an old man, and in his old ages he has a child, a little boy whose brother is dead, and he alone is left with his mother. His father loves him. Then you said to your servant, bring him down to me, that I may have a look at him. We said to my Lord, the lad cannot leave his father, for he should leave his father would die. You said to your servant, unless your youngest brother comes down with you, you will not see my face again. Genesis 44 to 45. So when we came up to your servants, my father, we told him your words, and his father said, go again and buy us little food. We said, we cannot go, only if our youngest brother is with us we can go, for we may not see the man's face if our youngest brother is not with us. And your servants, my father said to us, you know that my wife bore me 2 sons. One I lost, and surely he was torn to pieces. I have not seen him since if you take this one from me too, and any harm befalls him, you will bring down my gray hairs with sorrow to the grave. Now therefore, when I come to your servant, my father, and he sees the lad is not with us, his life begins bound up with the lad's life. He shall surely die, and your servants will be brought down their fathers to the grave with sorrow, for his servants took upon him responsibility for the lad, saying, if I do not bring him back to you, then I will bear the blame forever. Now therefore, I beg of you, let your servant stay instead of the lad, a slave to my Lord, and let the lad go home with his brothers. For shall I go up to my father, and the lad not with me, and see the grief that would come upon my father? Genesis 44 to 45. Joseph reveals who he is. Then Joseph could not restrain himself. Before all of them that stood around him, he cried, let everyone leave me. So the Egyptians departed, and Joseph made himself known to his brothers. He wept out loud, and the Egyptians and the Pharaoh household heard. Joseph said to his brothers, I am Joseph. Is my father still alive? His brothers could not answer him, for they were all overcome with fear. Joseph said to his brothers, come close to me, I beg you. They came near, and he said, I am Joseph, your brother, whom you sold into Egypt. Now do not grieve or be angry with yourselves because you sold me here, for God sent me here ahead of you to save your lives. For 2 years now the famine has been in the land, and there were 5 more years to come, in which there shall be neither tilling or harvest. God sent me here ahead of you to preserve your families on the earth and save your lives. Therefore, it is not really you that sent me here, but God, and has made an advertiser to Pharaoh, and Lord of the household, and a ruler throughout the land of Egypt. Hurry now and go up to my father, and you will say to him, your son Joseph says, God has made me the Lord of Egypt. Come down to me without delay, You shall dwell in the land of Goshen, where you shall be near me, you, your children, and your children's children, your flocks and your herds, and all you own, and I will nourish you here, for there are still 5 years of famine to come. You and your household would now know poverty otherwise. Now, your eyes and the eyes of my brother Benjamin can see that it is really I who speak to you. You are to tell my father all my glory in Egypt and all that you have seen. Go down, hurry and bring my father down here. And he embraced Benjamin, his brothers, and he wept. Benjamin wept. Then he kissed all his brothers and wept with them. And after that, his brother talked with him.